Hello, and welcome to In Her Footsteps, the platform where we celebrate the spirit of Latinas who are redefining the entrepreneurial world. I'm your host, Maria Salinas, and today we have a culinary treat for you. We're joined by the remarkable Jocelyn Ramirez, a vegan chef extraordinaire, the visionary behind Todo Verde, and the author of La Vida Verde. She's not just cooking up plant-based meals, she's stirring a cultural revolution in the kitchen. So if you're as excited as I am to explore this delicious intersection of culture and cuisine, then you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Yeah, that was definitely tricky right at the beginning. A lot of family members didn't believe that I was taking that plant-based leap because I used to eat so much meat prior to taking that journey myself and starting my business. So like people who know me from way back when probably think I would be the last person to have a plant-based business. And really I took that leap because of health reasons initially. I have been and continue to deal with a thyroid issue that's now actually doing so much better because of the change in my diet. Yeah. And then my family has dealt with so many health issues that I think is not just a common issue with my immediate family, like just in the Latino community generally, like diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And so I wanted to be able to make food that made us feel better in our bodies, but that also didn't take away all the cultural, traditional, nostalgic food that it's like if you're gonna go plant-based, it doesn't mean I only can eat kale salad and acai bowls and like smoothies. I could still eat mole, ceviche, tacos. I can still eat the things that I know and love.
Bravo to Jocelyn for not just transforming the culinary scene, but also for nourishing her Latinx community with healthier yet authentically flavorful options. She's not just a chef, she's a culinary activist, breaking down stereotypes and enriching lives one plate at a time. It's a beautiful blend of entrepreneurship and cultural pride. So if you're eager to uncover the secret ingredients that make Jocelyn a standout entrepreneur, don't go anywhere. We're about to spice things up with a dash of inspiration.
I mean, I think that I wouldn't say I've been treated badly, but I would say that I have been treated or have been put in a box of like what being a Latina means to certain people. And like, you have to do it this way, or it has to, look this way, or you have to say it this way. And it's like, well, I'm, from somebody who's not of that background,
So,
which is
sure. So you're like, in a way, you're educating everybody as well. Like,
yeah, even as I've like pitched to get into stores and people have a certain perception of like the Latino consumer, right? Or a Latina specific
this is
consumer.
so interesting and so true. And I feel like that's...
Yeah, like, they're like immigrants, don't have money. And I'm like, you're thinking of my parents. You're thinking of my parents who migrated here, who crossed borders to give me a better life and better opportunity. I've been able to go to college, to graduate, to do so much thanks to their efforts. And now I have that discretionary income to like buy quality products, to do things that people are still have like in this box of like what a Latinx consumer is. And like, we've so broken through that. And it's like finding that next level of like thinking through like, how do we approach this audience that we have? That is like, people tend to feel like when you use the words like vegan or plant-based, like they get a little bit like weary or shy about it. And I've definitely like done events where not only are we kind of like the
minority.
We're definitely like already the minority, but then I'll show up to events like also being like very authentically myself, like wearing my clothes, wearing, the whatever I feel comfortable in.
Smile, those colors.
Right? Like being pretty bold. And, you also have like this very white male dominated side of like events and the food world and just, the food industry generally, where like they'll show up in like their chef's coats and like a very rigid way of like,
Snobbish.
yeah, of like the way things are supposed to be done in the food industry. And here I am being just like trained by, my know-how from my abuelita and like going to like, some culinary school. And, I did this event one time where everybody was kind of like, who is she? What is,
Can't imagine. It's
just,
like, I went to the Cordon Bleu, like whatever,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you're like, no, my abuelita's kitchen.
Exactly. And so like it was just very kind of like, oh, we don't know what she's doing. Like we're going to be over here, she's going to be over there. But then people loved our food. They loved the flavor. They loved everything about what we were doing. And so after the event, they were like, oh, everybody was like raving about your food. Like we want to try it. And I have this like line of all these white men in their chef's coats, like waiting to try my food and loving it and like wanting to know how I made it. And so it's kind of interesting how it works. Like people will be kind of like, oh, I don't know, it's vegan, whether it's like the consumer or the chefs. But then once they try the food is good. The food is great. Like
Jocelyn is a living testament that when you blend authenticity and passion, you can shatter any stereotype or hurdle that comes your way. She's not just cooking up meals, she's cooking up a revolution, one delicious dish at a time. Now let's peel back the layers to discover the resilience that's been her secret sauce in the cutthroat world of culinary entrepreneurship.
I started Todo Verde in 2015. I was previously in higher education, so like I didn't have that formal food background, but knew that I wanted to start this. And so I was in farmers markets. I started doing a big food event in LA called Smorgasburg. So Zach, who runs the market there, he approached me when I used to be at the farmers market. And especially at the beginning, it was like all these like up and coming, well curated, like chefs and foodies who were on their way to open restaurants. And so to be invited to that was like a huge, big step for the business.
Jocelyn's journey exemplifies the transformative power of resilience and determination. Starting with limited resources but an unyielding will to succeed, she has become a beacon for aspiring entrepreneurs in the culinary sector. Now let's turn our attention to her groundbreaking plant-based cookbook, La Vida Verde, a culinary masterpiece that promises to be as enriching as it is delicious.
Yeah, it's 60 plant-based recipes. I kind of got the sweet deal of like a publisher approaching me and saying, hey, we see what you're doing in LA and we want to work with you because we feel like this is a trend that we need to jump on right now. For me, I feel like it's much more than a trend. Plant-based Mexican food is in a forever journey, especially like, seeing post-pandemic, like how people are trying to eat healthier.
Horchata negra con chia.
Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
It's one of my favorite agua fresca. I just wanted to kind of reinvent it, from using white rice to using a more nutrient-dense black rice, including activated charcoal, which is very detoxifying for the body, chia seeds, which is like a traditional ingredient in agua fresca. So like really trying to tie in all these things that I've learned along the way, but also like making it feel still taste and
Arroz con leche
yeah.
negro. Oh my God, you guys, you have to get this book.
Yeah, it's still all the things. Like I still have like a sopa de fideo that I grew up eating with my abuelita. And I'm currently working on my second cookbook right now. So, the process is, I will say, it's a grind, trying to get all the recipes just right. Like there's some that just naturally came to me. And then there's others that, like that pan de elote that I probably made about 20 times. And I feel like I could still tweak it and get it even better. But it's in the book. It's great where it is. And then that has really led to this process of doing recipe contribution for things like New York Times Food and Wine, Epicurious, which has been really great, to be like a recipe contributor for those spaces and like share recipes like my mom's nopales and chile rojo. Like that was the first one that I did.
Be so proud.
My family is sometimes a little bit confused and shocked and proud. When I told my mom, la primera receta that I want to do in New York Times is going to be your nopales and chile rojo. And she was like,
why?
New York Times wants that recipe that the people will actually cook that. And I'm like, Yes, the food that you made growing up in the rancho in Mexico, people love that food and they want to eat it and they want to have the recipe, and also to be like shared on a platform like that. I think that I would definitely tell my younger self to stay resilient, and to absorb and learn as much as you can, because being an entrepreneur isn't linear. You have to know so many random things at all points, and so to really know your like what's around you and to absorb everything and to learn from others, and then when one door closes, to stay resilient, to know even though like that front door might be closed, like find another way in, right? Like, is there a window open? Do I know somebody over here? And like to really continue to like persevere in that resilience.
Jocelyn's cookbook, La Vida Verde, is more than just a collection of recipes. It's a culinary homage to her heritage, reimagined through a plant-based lens. She's making the rich flavors of Mexican cuisine accessible to a broader audience, all while staying true to her roots. Now let's dig deeper into the core motivations that fuel her entrepreneurial journey.
I think my inspiration is definitely my abuelita, who I dedicated my book to. She's my mom's mom and was the matriarch of our family. She was definitely a leader in the family, somebody that everybody looked up to, and who just knew how to bring people together around food. She was amazing. And like, you know, even in testing a lot of the recipes, I would oftentimes like ask my mom, like, what do you think she would think? Because she wasn't around to see it, but I think she would be really proud, and like I mentioned earlier, maybe even a little confused, like, ¿qué? Like, la gente van a querer cocinar estas cosas, you know? But I think it's, you know,
she's pulling your ears.
Yeah. And so like that was really the whole motivation behind it, and then also to assist home cooks who are going back out into the world, going to work, you know, having kids back in school, to be able to pick this up. Say I have some mushrooms, some tofu, whatever in the fridge, throw this in. It takes 15 minutes. We say that we're proudly abuelita approved.
Yes.
So to like have
God, I love that. Abuelita approved. Can you do this?
We really are. My mom actually just reached out to me yesterday and was like, I just cooked some jackfruit with your al pastor seasoning. Nomás eché poquito y estaba tan rico. My mom, you know? So I'm like, that.
La prueba.
Yeah. She's an abuelita. She approved it. You know, and so that has really been like what I've been trying to push forward. And so like I want to continue to scale in this way, to continue to grow with like pipián, mole, cremas, queso.
What a heartwarming and inspiring journey Jocelyn has taken this on. Her dedication to her roots, community, and passion for creating mouth-watering plant-based meals is commendable. We can't wait to see what she'll cook up next. Before we say goodbye, I want to sincerely thank our committed sponsors, the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Bank of America. Your support for elevating Latina entrepreneurs is invaluable. Much appreciation to our production team at MNW Creative Studios, Identity, and director Rico Moreno for bringing these stories to life. As we wrap up, remember these narratives are meant to uplift and inspire you. Please like, share, and comment if today's stories resonated with you. And consider joining your local chamber too, where community and resources are there for you. This is Maria Salinas signing off. Keep your ambitions high and determination strong. Until the next time.